Your audio, guys. I just started the stream.
Yep. Google
This
Gobble.
is the HR. What's up?
Oh, I was just making sure my audio was okay.
Oh yeah, I mean you sound good on my end anyway. All right, so this is episode 5 of the HRL report. We just wrapped up the Dover races, or actually you guys were at Rockingham, right? In the trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cup side was at Dover. Trucks were at Rockingham. Um, week 3 of the season. If you guys have been following, we started off at Talladega, and then we went to Kansas last week. Went to a little bit of a shorter track this week in Dover. Tonight it's the usual crew. Me, the owner, Scarecrow, Shockz, Cup driver, team owner, admin, and Tunda, truck driver, admin, team owner. And then our guest for tonight is Uncle Alex, truck driver. Last year was his rookie season in the trucks. Gradually got better throughout the season, and now he's starting his sophomore year with us here in trucks. How you doing tonight, Alex?
Good, good. Appreciate y'all inviting me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. We were actually we were like kind of last minute. Well, not last minute, but it got late in the week. And we were like, "Do we have a guest scheduled yet? Do we have a guest scheduled?" And so I'm glad you volunteered to come on. We're trying to get somebody from the truck side. Um, all right, so Dover guys, or Dover and Rockingham. I'll start with Dover. It started a little rough. We had some cautions there in the first stage. Ultimately, had to go single file to the end of the stage there. But after that, it cleaned up pretty good. We might have had another caution or two in the second stage, and then I believe maybe one more in the third stage. But overall, good race. We saw the number 60 of Tata Head pick up his second win in 3 races. Um, and yeah, I mean, strong start for him. We had this conversation already a little bit. Did we think he could propel this strong start into a championship caliber contending season? I think most of us agreed that he could, and this is just another notch on the way to making that happen. What about what you want to go over the truck side, Tunda?
Yeah. Hida finished his first race of the season and he finished in first. How about that? That's why I picked him. That's
So
looking
if he
pretty
makes it
smart
to the
today.
end, he's gonna win, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it looked today. Stage one went green, and then stage two, it seemed like about 17th back lost their minds, and it really didn't matter who was in 17th back, whoever was back there. Because there were some guys that were in the top 10 early that once they got back there, it kind of made the blender effect. Some dudes got their setups in and went hog wild, and that made the blender effect. And then some guys just got anxious. We also went single file by the end of stage two, and we stuck with it for the rest of the night. Stage three went better, but we're real sloppy today.
So, based on how the race went, do you think that Rockingham would be a for sure keeper on the schedule for next season? Well, I guess I shouldn't
I
say that. We'll be on a
think
new game, right? So it'll be
Well, hopefully. But I do think it's going to take a test, and I think Rockingham is going to be one of those places where if we have three divisions, we can run it. If we have two, it's going to be last option.
okay. So was it kind of like was it like did Hida kind of like run up front all race and dominate, or was it there's a lot of
Well,
guys,
he
you
worked
know?
he worked his way through the field in stage one, then he got up to the top five before all the chaos started. And pretty much the guys that were up there and didn't get wrecked or get involved in something stayed up there, and that was your top 10 for the most part.
Okay, so not a lot of the guys who kind of qualified in the top 10 kind of stayed there is what it
Yeah,
sounds like
well,
for
in
the most
stage
part.
one, there was a lot of pack mobility, but then with the cautions and everything, it just became impossible to pass. And then there would be like a gaggle of cars here and there, but for the most part, we got pretty spread out. And then a mistake would cause a natural caution. But after stage two, the way that went, we were not going back double file. And also, we lost an admin in stage one. Dirk lagged out, so it was just me in there getting mad.
Mm. Yeah, I believe we lost a couple to engine failures, as we call the lagouts on the game. Um, what about you, Cup guys? What Crow and Shocks? What do you guys think of the Cup race?
Right. Um, we had our hits and misses here and there. Um, kind of like a normal race. Once we were able to kind of get everybody singled out, uh, it was kind of hard to make passes. You kind of had to wait for any mistakes to happen for the guys in front or around you. But yeah, all in all, I think it was an okay race. I wouldn't call it great, but a decent race moving forward. Another one to notch in our belt. Shockz.
I'm gonna be a little more straightforward. Crow is being very nice to the group right now. I think our race was another one that was close to more of a joke, and it's just once again people lacking respect and racing like idiots and being clowns, and it's really disgusting to be honest. And it's pissing me off to the fact that I'd love to just split it up right now into three, but I know that's not realistic. But I'm just there's a certain, it's not even like two to three guys. It's just the whole division right now, and the whole is just acting like a bunch of idiots. And as long as people continue to do it, we're just going to continue to up the severity of the penalties until they figure their life out. So that's kind of where we're sitting at it with right now.
Yeah, from my perspective, I didn't get caught up in a lot of incidents that weren't of my own doing. I mean, I got a bumper from a guy here and there. I got kind of like squeezed into the wall slightly here and there. Nothing that like I was like mad over. Just some like aggressive hard racing here and there. My race ultimately, I did get caught up in something in the first stage. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was running in the back half of the top 10, which is about the speed I had, I believe. I qualified 10th or 11th, and I think I had like a 6th to 10th place car. But I believe T Glass and Spartan might have gotten into each other coming off two, and I got caught up in that. And that put me in. I had like 20 seconds of damage, and that put me in the back of stage two. I kind of just rode around like I think when the restart happened on that, we went. That's when we went single file, and I was like 26th from having 20 seconds of damage, and I think I finished the stage like 18th. I really wasn't even trying to be too aggressive. I knew I didn't have time to get back up to the top 10 and get stage points without like pretty much driving the way we don't want to see people drive, which is kind of just running people over. So I was kind of, once that happened, I was like, all right, I'm not going to get stage points here. Let's just keep it clean the rest of the stage. And I think I got 18th. In the second stage, I actually made a really good call. I stayed out, or I got two tires. I can't remember. It's whenever I was running up there with you and Cone Shocks, and I was able to kind of maintain my track position there on two tires for a while. And then what happened in that stage was I short pit, like I tend to do. Took four, and I liked the strategy that it was going to work out for me. But when I came out on four, obviously I was a lot faster than the guys that were still out on the track. And I made a move I shouldn't have made. I got like caught up in traffic, and off of two, I shot the middle between, I believe, LX and it might have been Tango. I honestly can't remember. I didn't touch anybody, and I don't think it was my fault, but it was just an aggressive move I didn't need to make at that point of the race, and ultimately I got turned from the bottom. I want to say it was Tango. I can't even be certain. I don't want to say the wrong name, but I'm not even that mad at him, to be honest. Like I said, it wasn't my fault, but it was a position that I didn't need to put myself in. I could have waited a turn or straight away and passed them, and so that put me a lap down. Again, spinning there to end stage two. I was pretty upset with myself there. And then stage three, I did ultimately get my lap back. I didn't take the wave around. I pitted, but I was kind of racing the one lap down cars there to start stage three. Ended up getting to the lead of the one lap down cars when the caution came out. So got my lap back. Was running up there with you guys again. I think I was running like 12th on the lead lap, but then I took no tires again to get back up on the track position because my tires were only like 3% degraded. And was running up there with you and Cone and them guys again. And then I screwed myself again. I pitted too short. I short pitted, but I did the calculation on the math wrong. So when I came out of that pit stop, I realized I was a couple laps short on gas, and it ultimately was running about eighth again with like 5 laps to go when I had to pit again. So basically, I was gonna come away with like a position that I probably deserved, which was like eighth. I think that's about the pace I had. but I played the strategy wrong and short pitted before the window was even open. So it was an overall just forgetful night for me. No stage points. I think I finished 20th or something like that. I'll have one of those every once in a while where I just miss it all around, just make bad decisions and bad strategy calls, and this is one of those nights. But I guess being that I wasn't up there as much as you guys, I didn't see a lot of the aggressive driving. It sounded like you guys were kind of disappointed with some of the driving that went on up there. I didn't see a lot of that. It'll be something that I'll have to go over in the clips and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, congrats to Tata, 2 wins in 3 races. Great start for him. Congrats to Hida on his second career win, I believe, in HRL. So shout out to those guys. But I guess that'll conclude the. Or actually, you know what? Let's get Uncle Alex's take real quick. How'd your night go, Uncle Alex? Before we move on.
Yeah, it was a interesting one. I think first stage, like Tunda said, we stayed green the whole time, which was just a little bit of a surprise, but really fun on that aspect. I qualified about midfield, worked my way up. I think it was P8 maybe by the end of the first stage. Second stage we don't got to talk about. We can skip through that. And third stage had worked my way up to P1. That last caution came out. I decided to stay out because I was good on fuel. Turns out I was the only one who stayed out and just didn't have the pace to stay up. But that's nobody's fault but my own for not pitting there. So I fell all the way back to P21 and battled to the line with Tunda on lap 150. Yeah, overall, I think those green stretches I think went really well for us, especially those longer runs. But yeah, cautions happen; it's part of it. But yeah,
Where did you end up, Alex?
I think it was P21 is where we
Yeah,
finished.
we were
and,
fighting for
for P20.
20th.
Yeah,
I
and
honestly
on
think that's
that,
exactly where I ended up, 21st.
yeah, on that last restart, I was P1, so I led a couple laps there, and then the pace just wasn't there because I was on probably like 20, 25 lap old tires already at that point. So that's my own, you know, not
Yeah,
straightforward thought process.
yeah. It kind of
At
sounds
first,
like
it
we.
looked like the long run was the way to go, with stage one going green, and then the way stage three started, and uh, the guys that had good long run trucks could work their way up, but then something would happen. It looked like to most of them. Had a couple of yo-yos in there. I started 26. I finished the first stage in 13th, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think
it sounds like
that's a great point.
me and Alex kind of had a similar night where we kind of had a decent car, kept putting ourselves in decent positions, but then would kind of make a self-inflicted error that would just kind of set us back, or not give us the point or the finish that we were deserving of. Um, but yeah. Anything else on Dover? You guys got anything?
Just everybody getting their act together. Would hope a lot.
I think
All
the
right, so
truck series is going to have to start to batten down the hatches so we don't have to deal with the same long-term issue you guys are fighting right now, but we might have to take some similar approaches.
yeah, we kind of I'm sure you could see it being an admin, Tunda. You can see the cup stuff. We kind of cracked down a little bit this week, and we'll get to that later in the show. It's a topic we're going to discuss, the penalties that were handed out this week, but I'll save that for later. So I guess we'll move on to Grill the Guest. That's our segment where we kind of throw a few questions at our guest for the week, which tonight happens to be truck driver Uncle Alex, as I said before. Um, my question for you, Alex, is you said we spoke briefly in the or the pre-draft show, I believe. You were one of the guests that came on, and we had kind of made the point to say that was our first time ever even having a conversation. And I remember you saying that you've kind of.
Did we just lose him?
Maybe.
I can't hear Nilla right now.
Sorry, guys. You guys
I
got
heard
me?
him, and then
You guys got me?
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
kind of
got you. I
dropped
got you.
off there.
Yeah,
All right.
my mic died. But I think where I was at, I was talking about how we had a conversation in the pre-draft um, show that you kind of came over from the street courses and the F1 Forza type games. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So my question for you is, what do you think is the biggest difference or the challenge that you face on the short tracks and the ovals and the super speedways as opposed to those street courses and road courses?
I think the wheel to wheel is much different. I mean, obviously, in when you're in those formula cars or just in more of like a circuit as opposed to an oval, you're kind of given a little bit more space, both attacking and defending. Um, it's not as much a pack race, like you're not usually too wide for more than a second or so. So that's been a little bit of an adjustment, but I think over the last probably 10, 15 races in HRL, I've gotten a much better hold on. I don't want to say good, but a much better hold on going to even three wide at points.
Yeah, me not having a lot of experience in the street courses or any of that. Like I've slightly played the Forza games. I think I did mostly whenever the servers were down for heat. But I definitely don't have that background. I'm the opposite. So even on like the road courses and street courses on NASCAR, like I have to, when we go to those tracks, I have to like practice all week just to make sure I'm not like a hazard on the track, or at least I did in the beginning. So we have completely different mindsets there. Both present equal challenges, just kind of completely different challenges. Um, Tunda, do you have a question for your fellow truck driver, Alex?
Yeah. Versus racing on the Forza or the F1 side, in HRL itself, how do you find yourself like sliding into the truck field?
Yeah, I think this season may not be the best representation. I think I look specifically back to the last half of last season. Granted, it was a smaller field at that point than what we're seeing right now. Um, yeah, I think since getting adjusted and adapted into just driving a different type of car, a different type of racing, just ovals as a whole, I think it's been, I do fully believe I can go compete with anybody in the division any given week. Name the track, I'm going to give it everything I got. I think you probably feel similarly, Tunda. Like if you like you kind of have to think you can go win every race. Like if you don't, HRL may not
Oh,
be the right league for you.
I know my place. I know
Yeah, but I mean
where I have a chance and where I don't.
you're a race winner though. Like you get it. Like I haven't won a race yet, but you still got to kind of think that way.
And you gotta take the opportunities where you can, and where you know you're good, you have to be the best.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Shockz, Crow, y'all got a question for Uncle Alex?
Sure, I'll go. Alex, what has been your biggest challenge or obstacle coming from the F1 games, or what's something that you struggled with, and something that you've actually been able to kind of handle really well, kind of something that you brought over from that side of the world, the racing world, to NASCAR? Is there any particular things you could think of that kind of suit your style, or maybe are not so good or friendly to you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think the biggest kind of adjustment that was a large learning curve was the difference in how setups affect the car and how the cars react to different adjustments. Like it is slightly different in the fact that, I mean, if you look, tire pressure is a great example where if you take the formula cars by increasing your pressure, like your cars are going to have more grip and everything. You're going to be able to whip around a lot quicker on short runs. Whereas, you take Rockingham's a great example here on a shorter track where I've noticed that decreasing that tire pressure, getting more downforce which is what you're really looking for because on these shorter tracks, like that cornering speed is the difference between P1 and P25. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Shockz?
Yeah, my question was I wanted to know what your very short sample size, but how do you think your season has gone up to this point, and what are two or three goals that you had listed for this season going into it?
Yeah. Finishes. I've only ran 2 to 3 races so far this season. Not too proud with where we finished, but I'm really excited with the pace that I've had for, in those first stages when we're all in the same setup, and then as we kind of get our adjustments. And I think I'm pretty proud of where my pace has been to start the season, and how that racecraft has happened, kind of evolved as well. But yeah, not too proud of where we're at in the points right now or where we finished at Talladega and Rockingham here. But um, I think there's a lot to be excited about with what, for myself at least, for where I've started. Um, Goals that I've set, I'd really like to get my first win. Finally got a top five at the end of last season. So I think a win's just the next box to check. Um, if it'll happen, who knows? But um, I don't know. I think I can. We'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for answering some tough questions there from us. I do want to give you the caveat. You're more than welcome to stay around and stick around for the whole show, but it does usually run like an hour and a half. So if you do have to leave now or at any point, it's no big deal. Just let us know. Otherwise, you can feel free to hang out.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. So that's gonna wrap up Grill the Guest. Let's move on to fact or fiction. Um, if you guys came up with any during the week, you guys didn't send them to me, but if you have any, just let me know, and we'll get them in. I'll start off with the ones that I came up with. So I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier in the show, kind of teased it, but fact or fiction number one is going to be being stricter on post-race penalties this season will be effective in terms of creating overall better racing. Fact or fiction? Now, based on Shockz's input so far and his reaction to the race, I have a feeling I might know where he's going, but we'll start with him. What do you think, Shockz?
I'm. Is there an in the middle answer? I'm
Nope.
gonna lean more to the fiction side. Um, I feel like our original proposition of splitting to three was probably the best move just for smaller fields for cleaner racing, but sticking with two is what we're gonna do, and I just think there's a lot of pride and just a lot of arrogance going on right now. A lot in Cup and sounds like even maybe a little bit in the trucks. It's just big fields. It's a lot for people to handle, and we don't expect perfection because it's nobody's ever going to run a perfect race, not one person, but having more than four cautions, five cautions a race is just unacceptable, and it's something we got to get figure out. And I think harsher penalties will help some, but there's only so much we can change with specific people.
Now, I do have a follow up to that, Shocks, because I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that this is the race that you came away with that take, only because it seemed like you ran up front for the most of the race, which if you think that if you ran up front most of the race, that means that you ran around guys that are probably going to be in the top tier division anyway. So were those the guys? Because if you were having the problem with the guys that are going to be in the same division as you, even if we split to three, what made you come away from this race thinking that the three divisions was needed as opposed to the previous races?
Well, it wasn't. Kansas is a tough track, but that was also another race that I expected to be rougher, with it being one lane dominant and a lot of bubble, a lot of slide jobs. Um, but smaller fields is naturally going to mean less incidents, less accidents, less cars spinning, less wrecks having to be avoided. And I think one of the biggest things at fault right now is the big talent gap. Right now between first to last in these divisions, and I think splitting to three would really help condone that for closer into guys racing closer to their speed. Um, and it's also just the part that I think naturally less cars is naturally going to equal less incidents. This is kind of my two big pieces of it.
So it kind of sounds like it wasn't that there was any incidents that necessarily happened around you. It's just that it's the growing frustration with the incidents happening that are bringing out increased amounts of cautions. Is kind of where you're.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot happened around me, of course. Not when I'm staying in the top five for most of it. I'm mostly around the top pack in the front group is going to be the group that misses most of the chaos for most of the time. You know, it sounds like a lot of it happened in the mid pack and even the back of the pack, and of course I can't see that. Um, when I'm towards the front, I'm not even trying to say that with pride or nothing. I'm just being realistic. Um, and just that just seems like where a lot of the mess is because guys are trying to get to the front and they don't really have an issue with kind of driving through people or around people with contact to make that happen because nobody wants to finish last or towards the back.
All right, so it sounds like Shockz, understandably so, is frustrated with the some of the stuff that's going on mid to backpack and the cautions that are being caused back there by the driving. I'm marking down fiction for him. So what about you, Crow? What do you say, fact or fiction?
I'll say fact on this one. I think I can only speak for the Cup side that I know of, but I definitely feel like once these penalties start ramping up and guys start to see kind of the ramifications of the way they drive, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see if, these guys don't start acting, more courteous on track. I wouldn't be surprised to see a suspension or two handed out if the guys can't respect guys around them. So yeah, I'll go fact on that one. I think the penalties will really start to affect drivers' on track behavior.
I mean that's the hope, right? I mean this week, for example, if you didn't check the standings release, you saw the penalties there at the bottom. You had a few guys get probation for a couple weeks, which essentially means if any incidents happen while you're on probation, it's going to be looked at a little bit more closely and probably more harshly. And then we had a couple points penalties for some things we considered a little bit more egregious or intentional. And then we did have one guy start in the rear, I believe. Did we enforce that? I don't even remember. Did we enforce that tonight? Did
I
Richie start
was
in the back?
I think
believe
so. Yeah.
he qualified like 23rd, and I believe it was slipped out of my mind to make him move back up the whole three positions.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I just thought about that. I mean, I don't think it really affected anything, but yeah. Um, so I mean, that's the goal, right? You want people to be a little bit more cognizant of the drivers around them and be more a little bit more respectful, and you hope that causes less cautions, less incidents. Like I said, I didn't see it from the same lens as Shockz tonight. I think that there was a few cautions, too many, I believe, but I didn't come away from the race as disappointed as he was, but maybe that's because I got my own disappointment from my own self-inflicted errors tonight that I'm focused on. But I'm going to say so. We've had Shockz say fiction, Crow say fact, which is already a win for me because I've been trying to come up with questions that people don't all agree on. So we already have a split there. I'm gonna say fact as well, and it's a lot of what Crow said. I think that we might not have seen it this week because the first week most of the penalties that were handed down last week were probation. But people show up because they want to race and they want to race for points and they want to contend for a championship. And it's not going to help you contend for a championship if you're racking up penalty points, or even as he alluded to, possibly missing a race. I mean, I'm the last person that wants to suspend anybody or park anyone for a race, but if we have to progressively work towards that with guys in order to get them to settle down some of their racing, then that's what we're ultimately going to do, even if we don't want to. So I hope that we don't get to that point, and I think that these penalties might deter us from ever getting to that point. So I'm going to say fact with Crow. Maybe it's being optimistic, but I think that the penalties will be they will be effective in terms of creating overall better racing. To kind of restate the question, um, what about you, Uncle Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go fact as well. I can only speak on the truck side. Really, I haven't seen much, if at all, of the cup races this season. I think Tunda would agree. There's maybe only two or three truck drivers that have been a consistent issue. I see it brought up in like the general chat, and those same guys tend to get pretty defensive. I think just seeing some sort of like consequence for that, I think may may shift their view on how they're driving.
All right, Tunda.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fact. I agree with Alex and Shockz with some of their reasoning. I don't think dogpiling is gonna help at all. Uh, but I think a little points penalty might be a little reminder there, like, hey, I need to chill out. But I also don't think that field size is really the main thing. So, well, I want to have three divisions, and that was absolutely reinforced tonight. I don't think that'll fix the problem if it's a mentality thing of guys kind of just sending it in there or not noticing or being aware enough when cars in front of them are checking up to that means they themselves have to check up or they're just going to cause an issue or uh, when they should be pushing instead of sending it three wide or trying to pass going into a turn and wrecking the guy. There's a lot of etiquette things that they're not gonna get solved with smaller fields. The same things are just gonna happen on a smaller scale, but if guys learn to tone it down because there's a consequence to their actions other than some aero damage, something that lasts, I think that's gonna be the thing to tone them down.
Well, that's the big thing, right? You gotta this game, it kind of lends itself towards you, there's no penalty to being aggressive. You can drive recklessly, and then if you get caught up in something, you just repair your damage. So, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The only thing we can do about that is ask that people send in clips, and you know, we deal with it post race through penalties. I think that's the best way that we can handle it. I'm kind of in the middle of you two guys. Like, I'm obviously, you guys know this. We've had many conversations. I'm pro three divisions. I'm even a little bit lower than you, Tunda. I think you know that. I don't think we quite need the number that you would like to see. A little bit south of that, I think we'd be okay. But I mean, like I said, I don't think tonight. I'm not completely on the side of Shockz where tonight I came away feeling like, oh man, this is an example here tonight. We need three divisions. While I do think we need three, I would like to see three divisions. I just didn't feel that way coming out of tonight's race. Most of the things I saw weren't like indicative or an example of why we need three divisions. They were just kind of errors, and multiple of them were on me. I mean, I didn't take anyone out, but I just took myself out a couple times. So we got four facts, and then Shockz is going on the fiction side on there. Let's move on to fact or fiction question 2 that I came up with. Now, these two questions that I have here for fact or fiction 2 and 3 were thought of before tonight's race. So they're going to be relevant to, after the first 2 weeks, not necessarily after tonight's race, but just bear with me. So, fact or fiction number 2. Through 2 races, we see 2 familiar Hall of Famers and rivals atop the Cup standings, being Extreme Shockz and Line Cone. They were 1 and 2 after Kansas. I'm not sure where they'll shake out after tonight, but I think they both ran well, so there's a good chance they might still be 1 and 2. I don't know. But back to the question. These two will have a season-long battle for the ages for the championship, and no one else will truly challenge them. Fact or fiction? How about we start with Tunda this time?
I'm sorry, it ran long. Who were the two?
So after the first 2 races, we saw Shockz and Lancone 1-2 in the Cup standings.
Oh yeah, they're going to battle all season. So I would say fact if it wasn't for the caveat of nobody else is going to get close. Because way back in episode 1, I called that they're going to each get 5 wins, and I still believe that. But I think there's going to be 1 or 2 contenders up there. Maybe a Tate ahead who's already got a couple in him. I think Stein is looking fast. Missed the strategy call tonight, or it looked like he had the field pretty cased. I think there's going to be some competition, but I think those 2 are going to get their 5, and they're going to battle it out. So I guess
You're going fiction.
faction.
Faction. Okay. Well, that's not an option, so pick one. You're saying fact if it wasn't for the caveat of no one else will will challenge them, but you do think they will be two heavy hitters all season long, basically.
Yeah, they're gonna go at it. They're both gonna get their wins and their trophies, but there might be one or two that tag along for the ride.
All right, so we're gonna say that's a fiction from you, and you think there will be some other guys that will be in the running to challenge them. Let's go to Alex, Uncle Alex. I know you don't have a lot of experience in HRL, this being your sophomore season, but just a little background. These two, Shockz and Cone, are the two most winningest drivers in HRL history. They're the cream of the crop, pretty much season in, season out, barring attendance. Sometimes that might set them back, but do you think them starting off hot, 1-2 in the points, is indicative of how it's kind of going to go all season? Or do you think there's some cup drivers in there that'll give them a run for their money?
I honestly kind of agree fully with Tunda's view of it. I think there's a good chance they stay 1-2 for most of the season here, but I do see, like, I'm just looking at the season points. I don't know how most of these guys finished up tonight, but like NLS Network through Kansas, he was the only one that's finished top 5 both times. Tata Head's got 2 wins now as well, like you all just said. Like, I do think they'll stay 1-2 for the majority of the season. I think it'll come down to that final race in the chase. But I think there will be some other guys challenging up there as well.
All right, I'm also gonna jump in here, and I'm gonna ride the fiction train. Before the race, I might have been more inclined to say fact, even though I was kind of on the edge of which way I wanted to go. But after tonight, I mean, it's hard to say fact when you got a driver other than those two already with 2 wins. I mean, we talked about it before. We thought that Tata Head could be a contender all season, and I mean, he did nothing to make me think otherwise after this race. I mean, 2 wins in 3 races with the cup field that we have this season is tough. So, and I don't think he's going to be the only one. Tunda mentioned Stein, I believe. I think there's a couple other guys that are going to be up there week in and week out. If I had to put money on, will Shockz and Cone finish in the top 4 or 5? 100%. But to say that they're going to be head and shoulders above the rest of the field and kind of not have any kind of challenge throughout the season, I think is a little unrealistic. I think there's too many good guys that can do that, and I'm starting to think that this was a bad question. But let's move on to Crow.
All right. I'll be the one to go fact on this one. But like you said, like everyone kind of said, I'll put a caveat in this one. I think it'll be a 3-way battle to the end. I'm still sticking with my guy Tata Head to win the championship, but I think you see a dogfight between those 3 all the way to the end. I think with all 3 of them, they all have, prior history running together. They've all collected their wins here and there. 1-2 with Shockz and Cone in the all-time wins. So yeah, I think they all duke it out to the very last lap at the end of the season.
So you're saying that if I had made the question those top 3 and nobody else will really challenge them, then you would have said fact, but you're going to say fact either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you recognize that there's some other rookies and whatnot who are going to have some pace, but you think those 3 HRL veterans pretty much are going to kind of have their own little three-way battle amongst the top of the points all year.
Oh yeah, I think they waxed the field.
Okay. All right. So we do have a fact in there. It wasn't a clean sweep. What about you, Shockz? I know this is a little bit of biased question for you, but what do you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the fiction. I think a 3-horse battle is more, I would say possible, but I think it's gonna extend a little further. I think going into the championship race, I think there's gonna be 4 or 5 guys that could go into that race winning it. Yeah, that's my guess.
Now
So I
remember,
guess technically fiction.
they don't have to win the championship race because it's a chase format. It's going to be all
No,
points.
yeah, I know. I'm saying I think 4 or 5 will go into that race with the chance of winning the championship. Is
Okay.
more so what I'm saying.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I don't I mean I'm kind of in the middle. I don't think it'll be just the two of you kind of duking it out. I'm not 100% it'll be Tate ahead. It could be a couple guys. I think, like you said, I think there'll be 4 or 5 guys maybe that go into the final couple races with a shot points wise to win it all. I think it should be a lot of fun, and for that reason, like I said, I'm going to say fiction. Um, so moving on to the third, or just to recap, we had everybody say fiction in there except Scarecrow. Marked that down. And then my third factor fiction question that I had here was this one's going to be more on the truck side of it. Through 2 races, like I said, this was written before Rockingham. Through 2 races, 4 of the 5 Cup drivers who moved down to trucks this season, that being Jack Bauer, Old Guy, Mustang, Up Top, and Ryan Hurricane. Um, 4 of those 5 are sitting outside the top 10 in trucks through 2 races. The lone exception being Jack, who, to his credit, is leading the points. I'm not sure about after tonight, but he was going into Rockingham. So the statement is this proves these transfers were correct. Fact or fiction? Let's go right back to Shockz and start with him.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, very short sample size we're working with here, but I am gonna go with fact. I think the 5 that were moved down were completely. I think they were good choices. I don't think they've gone down and done too much harm to my awareness. But I think there was even 2 or 3 more guys that probably could have moved down and would have flown right into that group. But no, talking about those 5 specifically, I would go fact. I think they've meshed well with the truck series.
Yeah, I actually, I'm gonna kind of go behind the scenes here. I kind of reached out to Jack a couple days ago. Well, let's back it up. I kind of reached out to him before the draft when I was doing my mock draft, and I had him number one, and he kind of made the comment to me privately that I was crazy for putting him number one, and I was like, dude, and he's notorious for this. He never gives himself enough credit. He's down on himself a lot. I feel like and he's a much better driver than he gives himself credit for. And I was like, listen, man, you being in trucks, you should be the number one draft pick, if not like one of the top couple. And he didn't seem to agree. And I reached out to him a couple days ago, and I was like, look, you scored more points in the first 2 races than anyone across both series, and you said that you weren't worthy of the number one pick. And he was like, oh, short sample size. Watch, I'm gonna run bad this week. I'll be lucky to be top 10, and it's a long season. I won't be up there, when push comes to shove. And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that. I believe that the other 4, I think it's a little too early to tell. I don't. Do I think that the other 4 that are running outside of the top 10, after the first couple races will remain there? I don't. I think Old Guy will be a top 10 guy. I think that Up Top and Mustang will have a chance to be up there as well. So my personal opinion on this is fact. Because even though Jack is leading the points, it's only by a couple points. And while I do think that he's a great driver, I think he's right where he kind of needs to be. Um, I think that he is basically one of the better drivers in the truck series. And that's why he was worthy of the number one pick. I'm gonna say fact as well here. What about you, Alex? You've seen those guys that have moved down that weren't racing with you guys last year in the truck series. Do you think they kind of are fitting in seamlessly with the truck guys, or do you think
Yeah,
maybe? Okay, go ahead.
yeah. No, I'll go fact as well. I think they're not per se blowing away the field. I know Jack's leading the points. He ran well again tonight, as did Old Guy and Mustang. I don't know where the others finished up, but I've raced next to those 3 specifically for a good portion of the 2 races I've been in this season. They're treating everyone as if they belong in this series. Like they're given the space. They're not out here moving people out the way in egregious ways or anything. They're just running in the pack like they're fitting in well.
All right, Tunda.
Yeah, I think fact. They pretty much slotted into where they are on this game. Jack came back defending his Xfinity championship that sent him up to Cup before the merge happened, and he's right back where he needs to be. I think he's a fast truck guy, and I think if we were to split the three divisions, he'd be fighting for space and towards the front of that middle field.
Oh yeah, he'd be middle. He'd be one of those guys that are a lock for that middle division if we can get to that point for sure. Crow, what say you?
I guess we'll have to continue with the facts on this one.
Sweep for the facts.
I'll say fact, and I'll add a little caveat into it. 3 of the 5 finished top 5 tonight, and 4 of the 5 finished top 10, with Jack being the outlier. He finished 12th. So, yeah, I think they're slotting in pretty nicely. None of them are dominating, I would say, but yeah, they're kind of slotting into the Truck Series very nice.
Well, I am obviously I'm happy to hear that. Being one of the admins along with a couple of you guys that are kind of in charge of the transfers, I'm happy that it's all working out. Obviously, we want both divisions to be as competitive as possible. So whenever there were guys reaching out that were in the Cup Series that were like, listen, man, I'm running 15th, 20th every week here. I'd like to try my chance in trucks. We gave a couple guys the opportunity, and it seems like a couple of those guys are fast, but they're not dominating the field. And that's kind of what we want. We want guys that are competitive down there, but we don't want it to be at the expense of the rest of the truck field that feel like they don't have a chance to win every week. And that doesn't seem to be the case. So I think a clean sweep here to answer that question with fact is really good for us, and I'm happy to hear it. That was my third and final fact or fiction. Did anybody else have one they wanted to get in? Nope. Okay. All right. So we will move on to the mailbox. I do have one question here that I received during the week, and let me just check and see if I've got any that have rolled in here late, which I do. I have one from Mudflap.
I've got one during the show from Drift.
Okay. Well, I'll just start off with mine, and then we'll get to the ones that have kind of rolled in here late. So mine I received during the week, and it was from General Twinkie, and General Twinkie asks, could we ever see an in-season bracket challenge? Actually, you know what? Did I skip you, Shockz, on the final fact or fiction there?
You're talking about the one?
Were the transfers correct?
No, I was the one that started it. You're
Okay,
good.
got you. Okay, I was just making sure.
No, I
Yeah, so
started it.
the mailbox question is, could we ever see an in-season bracket challenge? What do you think, Tunda?
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I think I don't think it's too late to do it this season. I think it's perfect time to start it. We could even have it end a couple weeks before the chase. I'd love to see that pop up somewhere in the community. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we did it while we were merged at one point, possibly the season where NASCAR did their first
Yeah,
one.
we did.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I'd love to see that come back.
What about what? So sounds. What about you, Shockz? Are you pro something like that?
Yeah, I mean it's something we did in the past that I think had success, and I is even something that I know us Cup admins have briefly talked about already, to be honest. But I think it's a great idea that keeps everybody involved and keeps us rolling through a longer regular season that keeps everybody entertained and fighting for something a little extra. I've always been for it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it can be a long season. 20 races we have scheduled for this season 13, as well as a couple bye weeks. And also, I just think it's fun for the guys that might not necessarily be competing for the championship. The guys that might be running around like 10th to 20th as opposed to top 10. It's something to give them to look forward to throughout the summer races and stuff like that. If you look at the IRL bracket challenge that they did last season, I believe it came down to, what was it? If I'm not mistaken, Ty Dillon and Ty Gibbs. I think were the final two, something like that.
Yeah, the Ty Dillon, the 32 seed, I believe.
Yeah,
Made it all the way to the final.
So exactly. So it gives those guys that might otherwise not really have much to race for if they aren't really in contention for the chase. Gives them something to look forward to each week. And I think it'd be a good thing to put kind of in place of the. We're not doing an all star race this year, so I think it could be something that we could throw in. I don't think it's too late to do so. It would just require the admins kind of putting our heads together and coming up with a schedule for it. And I think it's a good idea, and I think it's a good question. What about you, Crow?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good idea. We've, like kind of what Shock said, we've kind of briefly discussed about kind of where we would lay it out at. But yeah, I think it's a good little addition. Uh, kind of like the real life version, just to try to keep everybody interested and kind of give you a little something extra to root for, I guess, every week.
And then what about you, Alex? You think that I mean, I'm not trying to put you out there, but speaking as like somebody that, might be like one of the guys that I was talking about who kind of, might not be necessarily in contention for the championship or the chase, would that be something that you would be interested or like keep you
Yeah,
give you something to look forward to throughout the season?
yeah, absolutely. I think specifically for those of us that are more in the midfield, and I think it gives us a little extra something to fight for week in, week out. And I think especially as we get into summer, summer vacations start taking a toll on attendance throughout the season. Um,
That's an
I
excellent
think it can
point.
only
Yeah.
help retain attendance as the season progresses.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. The attendance one, and guys might be more likely to show up if there's because I believe when we talked about it before, we were thinking about putting a little prize on the line as well, whether it be a trophy or a cash prize or something. So that definitely could help with attendance if people are wanting to or knowing that if they show up, they could advance and potentially win the bracket in a cash prize or trophy or something like that. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the second question that I had sent to me just now out of the way, and then we'll move on to Tunda or whoever else had a question. This one comes from Mudflap, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit already on this show, or actually quite a bit. But I don't want to turn down a question. So Mudflap asks, do we think we'd have better racing with three 15 to 20 man series, or do we think two 25 to 30 man series is best? Um, I, kn- I'll let Shockz go last because I kind of know where he's going with this. I'll go first. I overall do I think the racing would be better with three series that were kind of 15 to 20 as opposed to the two series of 25 plus now. Yes, I do. I do because I think that there's a lot of guys that are just not in the proper division right now. And it's not that they're in the proper division based on what we have, but I think there's a lot of guys that would fit into that middle division, like we said. Probably the top 10 in the truck field combined with the bottom 10 in the cup field, and then you just would have everybody in the race and on all three series that kind of are on a similar skill and pace. I'm not saying that the guys in the bottom 10 of the cup field, for example, are causing all the issues, or even some of them maybe not be causing any issues. They just kind of don't have the pace to stay up there. But I do think overall the racing it'd be impossible for me to say that if we kind of spread everybody out talent wise into three divisions as opposed to two, that it wouldn't result in better racing. So hopefully we get those numbers. It's something I'm pushing for. It's something I want to see, and I'm going to say yes. I think three divisions would produce better racing. What do you say, Crow?
Yeah, kind of kind of tagging along what you said. I definitely think it would be kind of to the benefit of kind of everyone. The faster guys in Cup might not have as much struggles with some guys that might not be as quick, and then kind of in trucks, kind of moving some of those faster guys out of the way to give those guys who are just not as fast as the guys in front of them, but give them a chance. The guys that rarely compete for top fives and tens gives them a real fighting chance every week. But but yeah, really, I'd like to see it happen. But we kind of like, I'm sure Shocks will talk about it here in a little bit, but we kind of put that out to everybody to begin the season, um, before the season actually, just to see kind of what the reaction was, and it kind of seemed to be not overwhelming one way or the other, um, to what we would have liked, kind of last minute to change. But I'm kind of hoping everybody will kind of fight through this. You know, if it's a little tougher, and then maybe to start the next season, we'll try to give that a shot if we have the right kind of numbers and all the situations work out right. But yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I think that'll be a good thing to happen if we were able to execute it.
Tunda?
Well, I don't know if it would necessarily create better racing, but it definitely would create more good racing, with more on the line. Um, a lot of the cautions coming out, even the congestion caused ones, it sprouts from a two-car incident above the apron. We all know that's what brings out a relaxed caution, and that's what we run under. I just think with three divisions, if we can keep the numbers to get there, then the races within the race that we see in both divisions will have a chance to be for something. And the guys racing for 10th or 11th or so, maybe they'll be racing for a win or a championship, and that I think that'll help us keep all three divisions full. But I think we got to get there first, because I'd also rather much rather run two divisions of 25 to 30 cars than three divisions that might see less than 15 some weeks, because I just think HRL is better than a 15 car field.
I agree with that. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, preseason when you all posed the question, I was a proponent of the two larger divisions, and I think tonight kind of shifted my viewpoint on that more so. Um, and I think looking back to Talladega as well, speaking just from the perspective of the trucks years, I know I look back to last season when our average at 10, like it's probably about 18 or so we averaged throughout the season. We had a lot of really great green flag racing last season. Like we stayed clean at Bristol. Like who does that? And now looking at tonight here, like we probably had double digit cautions here, and most of those incidents were happening, like Tunda just mentioned, in the back half of that field. I don't know again if it would create better racing, or I think it would create better racing, but I don't know if it creates cleaner racing per se. But yeah, since the beginning of the season, I've now shifted to I'm a proponent of three divisions.
So Uncle Alex, because I just want to get your take on this. What do you think that because I mean, I'm projecting here, and I don't want to come across as,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, an asshole. But do you because I'm projecting that you would be a guy who stays in trucks, even if we
Yeah, yeah,
moved to
yeah.
three divisions. Would you find it more fun, or would you be more likely to keep racing, or more likely to have good attendance if you were racing for a top five, as opposed to where you're at now, where you say that you're racing for, probably 10th to 15th?
Yeah, I don't think it would change per se. It may be, I enjoy it. I think with the current structure, I think it increases the value of finishing in that top 15 to 20 range. Like a top 10 is a bigger deal with the current structure. Sure, it'd be more fun to be running top five competing for wins at the end of the day.
So I
Yeah,
did
I don't know if that answered your question at
No,
all.
it did. It did. It sounds like there's always races within races. Some people are racing
Yeah,
for the top five. Some people are, a win for them is finishing 10th, and that's the race that they're running. And I'm dealing with it right now. I mean, I don't, I know that I'm not going to have race winning speed barely ever. So what I'm doing is racing for, those top fives, top tens, and hopefully that's enough to, get me in a chase. And if the consistency is enough, then maybe I can be there at the end. That's kind of what I do throughout my HRL career. So I understand where you're coming from. I did have a follow-up question to this. Um, if you could design your dream three division relegation system unrelated to what's possible or what might happen, how would it look? You want to start, Tunda?
I
Well,
didn't get the answer.
I have a version of this question in my mailbag as well, so I'll just refer to that one. I think based on the last two seasons and preseason testing for season 13, it would be uh 20, 20, and 20 Cups, Truck, and Arca, just because it looks like the Xfinity car is
Hard to handle.
out until further notice.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if you take the top five from the bottom two divisions and move them up, and the bottom five from the top two divisions and move them down for the next season, I think that'd be a clean swap. And of course, I don't think you could use pure points for that. I think you'd have to earn points or use points earned per start, which coincidentally is how I rate the field in the background. I think that could go pretty smooth, but that would be in a perfect world, and we're not in one of those. You got server issues, you got hardware, you have people coming to buy the game, you got attendance issues, people work, people have things to do, people might get called up to run at the Hall of Fame uh, on live stream down there in Charlotte. People might have a baseball game, anything can come up. But perfect world, I think 2020 with five going up or down each season.
Yeah, I tend
Nilla, you
to.
forgot
What?
Shockz on that last question.
Oh shoot, go ahead, Chucks. It was the division
Nah, I mean,
question.
if Tunda's not done, let him finish, and I'll just combine the two
Oh,
into
that
one.
was the end of my
It's
answer.
not
Yeah.
that deep.
Yeah, go ahead, Chucks. What do you
I
say?
just want to make.
Two or three divisions, or do you think two divisions would create better racing than three? Is basically what the question is.
I I'm gonna 100% be on the train that I think three divisions is gonna produce better racing than two divisions, just for the fact of looking at the definition of what do we consider good racing. And to me, good racing is longer runs where strategy plays out, speed plays out. I think the longer that a race goes out, the more deserved the winner will be based on the speed of the long run and the short run. Um, and kind of based on those two of strategy and speed combining, I would say that I don't think 15 car fields. Eventually, if we go three divisions, we're going to have to bite the bullet of having smaller divisions. I think the expectation of us holding 30 plus drivers in each division consistently over an entire season is, I'm not going to say unrealistic, it's just extremely unlikely because people are going to come and go all the time, but we're also bringing new guys in. And of course, with us already bringing in like three guys past the season, it makes it, looking back and knowing that when we put the debate out there, it was 33 to 23, it was a 10 vote swing. Um, who knows if that should have changed our perspective? I don't really know. Um, but to me, I would prefer smaller fields that eventually are going to grow into bigger fields over time. I think eventually the bullet just needs to be bit.
Yeah.
But smaller fields of more tighter racing to the guys that are closer in speed to you. Yes, I agree. Numbers is not the sole issue, but I fully believe that it is a part of the issue. Just because the extended field gap um, is kind of the big thing of it, and more so. I mean, I could talk about this for hours. Let's just condone it. But I think three is the quicker. Now, when it comes to the how would I form it, um, I would have Cup be the top division. I would have Truck be the bottom, and I would allow the second division to be voted on based on those drivers on if they would allow to be a Cup B division or if they wanted to be a Truck A division. I'd rather let them vote and race the car that they desire that they're going to enjoy more of. Um, and, that's kind of the big thing. I don't really have much of a difference between, playoff formula or exactly how any of that works, but I'm always going to be for pro three divisions.
Yeah, I think that when it pertains to attendance too, I think the reason why it's hard to keep two big divisions is kind of what I said. Kind of the hard part about keeping the numbers up is because there's people that are racing in divisions that they don't necessarily belong.
Mhm.
You know,
The
so
the third division would definitely help keep the numbers that would make us add a third division, if that makes sense.
right.
And
So
this is the longest we've held the field size at what it is right now, and if we can pull it out, we'll have three thick ones.
like let's just say I don't know the exact number, but let's say that the fall off rate when there's two divisions is 25%. You know, let's just say you start the season with 60 across both divisions and you end with 45. I don't think that 25% number translates when we if we move to three divisions because I think everybody that's showing up in those races feels like they are racing in a series where they belong, where they have a chance to compete every week, and they're more likely to show up because of that. I'm not saying there won't be a drop off rate. People, stop racing for whatever reason, but I don't think it'd be as high. For example, if we started with, let's just say we started with 2020, I don't think that each division, a drop off of 75% would be down to 15. And I would be willing to bet that we ended the season, if we started with 2020, that we would not dip below 15 in any of those divisions. I don't think there'd be five
I
guys.
agree.
So, so I think that.
Could
Go ahead.
no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying like I would go to say if we did the three divisions, I don't think we probably have half of the extended issues that we've had up to this point with the cautions and whatnot.
Right.
Um, but I'm also with you to where I don't think we have the drop off either. Um, I think those two kind of mesh well, and I don't know.
I think
But
I
yeah,
think that's
I think
the.
you're on the
Just
right part.
I think we kind of all
will
agree
stop.
here. The target number is like 2020. I think that if we could do that going into the next season, we would be in a sweet spot to move to three divisions. What
I
about
I just think with the nature of some of the cautions that I've seen that um they'd happen in a 10-car field or they'd happen in a 40-car field. It just so happens they're happening in a 30-car field.
You can't avoid cautions completely, absolutely. Cautions are going
Yeah,
to happen regardless. But with less drivers comes, like I said, less wreck avoidance, less guys being able to be involved in a
agreed.
situation, close guys, it's just. But I completely agree. Cautions are going to happen regardless.
and
Make a
and
five-car field.
and
Cautions
and
are still going to
and
happen.
you might have people that are like, well, guys, if your dream scenario is 2020, we had that this season. Like I can already hear them saying that, listening to that,
I
and
look, he
like
was going to say that.
yeah, I can already hear people like saying like, what the heck, we had that. But I mean, I just think it's a learning thing. I think that, while obviously you guys know me and Shockz, and I think Crow even might have been on the side of doing it. It's something that's voted on, and we didn't feel like we got enough traction to move that way. It was kind of too split, and I think having three divisions going to the new game, it's a fresh start. We split it into three, and we go from there. It's not the worst thing. We'll get through this season. I think that there'll be races that were better than this week, and we'll just tough it out here with the divisions and the setup that we got now, and hopefully next season, we'll come back with those same 60, and we'll start fresh with three divisions, and I think it'll be good. What do you say, Crow?
Yeah, I think it'll. I kind of just echo what Shock was saying. I think it's the right move to go to three divisions. How we do it and the kind of the all the details behind the scenes, that's to be seen. But yeah, I think for all in all, I think it would be the best decision moving forward. But kind of gotta see the light at the end of the tunnel going into the new game, and just try to, even if you're not happy with it right now, just kind of know better things are on their way.
All right, so thank you for that question, Mudflap, I believe it was. You said you had a question come into you, Tunda?
Yeah, I had that one come in, or a version of it come in from LX. I just opened my DM with him and giggled at SpongeBob there. But I did have one come in before his, and I don't want it to get buried. But Drift asked, which driver this year surprised you the most, good or bad? And
Ooh.
I'll start.
Okay.
I think that I think Dave has impressed me the most this year. Not with winning, not with being overly bad. I think Dave is much cleaner this season, and he's gaining spots because of that, and that's impressed me more than anything else I've seen in the Truck Series.
So for me, I guess I'll go next. It's hard for me to really judge on the truck side, not being in the races and kind of only seeing the standings through two races so far. But if I had to pick one, it'd be either the slow start for Mustang, only because I look at the standings and see him like outside the top 10 there, and I kind of, him being the number one pick in the draft, I kind of had a little bit higher hopes for him. But it is early. I hear that he had a good run tonight, so maybe he is figuring it out. And then on the good side, I mean, how do you not go with Tata? I mean, winning two out of the first three races, I mean, it's pretty impressive with the cut field that we have, and sets him up for what should be a strong season. So I would say I would anybody who had won two out of the first three races probably would have been my pick here, and it just happens to be Tata. So I'll give him his flowers right now.
I appreciate you taking my exact answer in both divisions. Um,
No problem.
but but yeah, I mean, listen, Tata has been with us for a while and he's been competitive in the Cup Series, but he is off to his best start to a season that he's had yet in HRL. I think we can agree on it. If he can keep this train rolling, the championship is very possible for him. And right now he has the speed to compete for it, and a lot can happen. And we'll just have to see how it goes. But that would be great for him. I think he's one that is to this point deserving of it. Um, and I would have to say, Mustang is also surprising considering I'm the guy that did take him at pick one. And and we've of course had a lot of conversation, and I think some of the pressure of him being the first pick and trying to get back in his groove. This game hasn't been his bread and butter yet, and he's really tried to take a step back and really figure out the in and outs of it. And I've tried to help as much as I can along the way, and I think he's getting his confidence and comfortability back. Um, but I think he's gonna come around. I think he's getting. I think tonight was a big step for him. Was just what I've been telling him is base hits, and if you continue to take base hits, eventually that first win's gonna come with it. Um, but yeah, you copied my two answers, so I just figured I might as well just go in and piggyback them.
All right, we haven't heard from Alex in a while. What do you say, Alex? What's been the what driver has been the biggest surprise so far for you, good or bad?
Yeah, good. On the truck side, I have to go with Dirty Fox. I know he's been brought up quite a bit. He's having a really great start. He and I had a lot of really great battles last season as rookies, four top tens, and now he's up there top five, top three, week in, week out. It seems like, and his first win's coming. I thought he was going to have it last season at Kansas. That kind of got taken away from him on some reckless driving with lap traffic, but he's going to get one here soon. He's knocking on the door.
And Crow?
Uh, for my bad early on in the season, I'll go with DJ. He's had some struggles, not of his making, but yeah, he hasn't ran so great the first 2 weeks. And then for the good, I'll give Twinkle Toes his shout here. Um, he's been pretty consistent. He's got two top tens going into this week, and I think his first win is in the near future. So yeah, those are my two picks.
All right. Did you have anything else, Tunda? You said you had another question, or
Yeah, I had another one come in from LX,
okay.
and he says, since it's never too soon to start talking about the chase, how awkward do you expect it to be when you have team guys left out while some free agents sneak in? How do you expect those conversations to look like with the team owners?
Um.
I am a team owner, but I'll go later because I'm one of the less aggressive ones.
All right. So I'll just start here. So as you guys know, there's kind of like a mixture of team owner philosophies. There's guys who I kind of talked about this in the pre-draft show. There's guys who draft, to win. They want to win the team championship at all costs. And I'm not saying all the owners don't want to win, but there's some guys they're going to draft the best guy on their board regardless of who they are. If they're their friend, if they get along with them, if they don't, they're just they're out for blood and they want the best drivers they can get. Now there's other guys, and I think I put you, Tunda, in this boat, who have a little bit more loyalty, have a little bit more, I don't know, just camaraderie, patience, all that, where you kind of draft guys that you're familiar with, that you work well together with. I think Seabass is another one like that at Prestige Worldwide. And I think those are the situations where you're more likely to see a guy on those teams that might not make the chase but kind of stays on the team all year because there is that loyalty. Like, for example, with you kept Shadow, and we've talked about this before. I think that there's a good chance that Shadow doesn't make the chase. And I wouldn't expect you, just because he's not running top 12, to get rid of him. I don't see you doing that. I think you and Shadow have a good bond, and I think you get along well, and I think you're going to ride with him whether he's running 8th or he's running 15th. So I think we will see a couple situations like that where a guy is not necessarily running in the chase all year or looking like he's going to make the chase but gets left out, where you might see a guy like, I don't know, let's say Spartan, just because he's a guy I know he's a free agent who's finished top 10 both the first 2 weeks. It wouldn't be surprised for me to see Shadow remain on a team all year and Spartan kind of struggle to find his way on a team just because of situations like that. Shockz?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. I think every team owner has a different perspective.
Agenda?
For me, yeah, agenda, perspective, mentality, whatever it is. For me, it's to win a team championship. It's one of the things that I have not done in this league yet. That I feel like if I can get that complete, it kind of completes the full circle for me. But it's tough because when I look at it, you draft the guys that you think at the moment are gonna be the pieces of the puzzle that is gonna get you to where you want to go. And of course, it doesn't always play out that way. But to me, if I've got a driver on my team that is performing very similarly to a free agent, I'm going to keep my driver, of course, because there's team chemistry already there. It's already built. We know each other well. We know the systems we run, so there's no point in swapping. But I think if there is a clear, better option on the table, compared to a guy on my team that might be struggling or not running to the expectations that I thought he would be at, I'm more than likely going to make that switch. It's never anything personal. But my job as a team owner is to take the best driver available for me and for the rest of the guys that are racing for my team to try and win that championship. I think it's only fair and it's only right to those guys to put them in the best position to get it done.
Yeah, you were definitely, when I was doing the mock drafts and kind of talking in the pre-race show, you were one of the owners. I was like, listen, Shockz is going to draft the guy who thinks he's going to win him a team championship. He doesn't care if, there was a lot of guys messaging me about where I thought, guys would go, and even people would ask me where I would go. And I was like, I think I'll go 4th. And they're like, oh, you don't think Shockz will take you number 1? I was like, no. No, because me and Shockz get along great. We're good friends. We've known each other for a long while. But I know that I'm not a top cup driver. And besides not being a top cup driver, there's top truck drivers like Jack and Mustang that are available. I'm like, there's no shot, as good of friends as we are, that he takes me number 1, and he shouldn't if he's trying to win a team championship. So I knew that you were that way. You've always been that way. You're trying to win at all costs, and that's your agenda, and I respect it. So, what about you, Crow? What do you think?
I think kind of like what you guys were saying. I think each team owner has their own agenda, kind of to know what or what their expectations are. But yeah, I would not be surprised to see some of these guys, or these teams, I should say, once you start to get behind, I would not be surprised to see some of these owners kind of throwing the Hail Mary to try to find somebody new to put in their stable to just try to maybe not to kind of plug the hole, I should say, but just try to stay even with the lead team, which I guess that's prestige worldwide right now. But uh, at this point, yeah, it's who can keep up, and then how do you keep up with them? Um, you just got to find who's getting the most points, and then some team owners they just call it a business decision, like Shock said. If a swap has to be made, then so be it. And others might have a longer leash with their guys to try to see if they can turn it around. But what about you, Alex?
Yeah, I do see both sides to this one as well. I don't have as much experience as you all with team owners. I think where primarily we'll see switches made if they do happen throughout the season is going to be with owners racing in the other division. So, for example, if Scuderia Tunda is in the mix there at the top of the team standings, I don't see someone like Tunda making a switch on the cup side. I don't see him making a switch on the truck side. I know Tunda's out here practicing throughout the week. I assume he's probably practicing with his teammates, bouncing ideas and stuff. And I know friendships bond build through that as well. I'm not saying he's bad cup guys. I don't think he's bad cup guys at all. Um, but I think that's where you'd see a switch made in an example like that, if that makes sense.
I will say that loyalty or sticking with a guy too long will 100% or can 100% cost you a championship because as much as I love my guys at Nightmare Racing and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but if you look at it last year, we had Fred Bob on our team, and Fred Bob's my guy. Don't get me wrong, love Fred Bob, but we stuck with him over replacing him for like 75% of the season. Oh, and when we could have got a guy like DJ Wynn, who or Rowe or somebody who finished top five, top six in points, and we only lost by about 30 points. And if you look at it, over the course that we had Fred Bob on our team, over the till the time we made a switch, we would have scored a lot more than 30 points. So, I mean, those decisions that you make as team owner on if you want to roll with a guy or kind of abandon ship and pick up a free agent can 100% make or break your team championship odds. So it'll be interesting to see. I think one thing we can all agree on is that there will 100% be a cup driver or two or a truck driver or two free agent that will make the chase. I think we all kind of think that will happen. Um, I know we've kind of run long here on the HRL mailbox question. I'm gonna squeeze one more in, but it's just a one word.
I didn't answer that one.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, at Scuderia Tunda, when you sign with the team, you sign for the season. I pick guys that I know can win races. Some of them are proven, some of them are getting their first ones this season. One of them's a rookie. Um, but if they get into a rough patch, things happen on track. I get it. You get into a little bit of a funk. I'm not going to drop you for that. I wouldn't want to be dropped for that because I know they're going to get a string of races in. All they have to do is make it click. They'll find their pace, and when we do finally get a championship, it's going to feel better. 'Cause we earned it with guys that knew they could do it and they stuck with it. And I think things like that help people stay in the league because getting dropped from a team for having a rough patch of races, which nothing on the team owner. They're trying to win a championship. That's fair, but I think it can hurt your morale even more than the rough patch did, and I've seen it in the past even lead to some guys head out of the league, which overall hurts numbers for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it last season. You stuck with Shadow. I mean, it was a rough season for you guys, as a
hmm
whole. But I mean, you stuck with Shadow. You rode it out, and he got in victory lane there at Las Vegas at the end, I believe. So, I mean, there's definitely
We
that.
just gotta have a season where we don't have that rough patch and we get through the wrecks that normally we get collected in, and bada boom, same guys. Now we're at the top of the chart, and
All right,
it'll happen. And I'm willing to wait. I'm from Bill's country.
all right. I know we're running long here. I'm gonna squeeze in one more mailbox question only because it's a one-word answer. That's all we need. Dirk asks, "What is your ideal race field size?" Not necessarily considering HRL, but just personal opinion. I know we talked about that we said 2020, but my one word answer is gonna be if you can get all the guys that are kind of on, if you had 25, 25, 25 guys that were all of the same talent level, that would be my perfect number. I'll say 25.
I think you just said like 40 words.
Yeah, sorry.
In
Yeah,
case
that
I
was
was,
way
I was
more
trying to
than one
count.
word.
Keep it
I
short,
was
guys.
gonna
Keep it
say.
short. Keep it short. Whoever wants to go next. I say
I'll-
25.
I'll go with 22.
Okay. Shockz, what do you think?
I will go 23 because Michael Jordan's the GOAT. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Shout out Michael Jordan. Tunda?
Well, the ones I was gonna say were picked, and I don't want to go any lower, and I don't want to say the same. So I'm gonna go 27. Get a nice one car back row.
Dude, I thought
like
you
the
were going
old
to go
days.
24. So we had 22, 23, 24, 25.
Nah, odd number, get a one car back row like the old days.
All right. So we got 22, 23, 25, 27. What about you, Alex?
I'll throw the outlier. I'll say 18.
18. He'd be okay
What a
with
guy.
18. As long as it's good racing and everybody's in the right division, he's fine with 18. Okay. I like it. All right. So that's going to wrap up HRL Mailbox. We've been kind of running long here. Moving on to the next topic, I believe is just the preview. Preview for we are going to Echo Park next week, formerly known as Atlanta. It's super speedway basically. I don't think it's changed a whole lot from Heat 5. There might be a little bit more outside line success. I don't think you can necessarily run up there a lot, but I think from my experience, there might be a little bit more traction up there. Might be able to make some moves. I'm looking forward to it, especially me coming off a terrible night tonight at Dover. I'm just eager to get back on the track. Atlanta, Echo Park has never been very kind to me. I believe Jack put out the Atlanta stats, or he might have just sent them to me so I could see. But I do not have a good career finish at Atlanta at all. So I'm eager to get back on the track and see if I can come away with a bounce back performance. And also, Atlanta kind of always produces some chaotic racing. So that's kind of what I'm expecting again. A lot of bottom line racing, a lot of trying to squeeze your way between the car in front of you and that apron to try to make a pass. What are you guys thinking about next week?
I'm
Well,
interested to see how the trucks adapt to the Echo Park with the new patch and see if it handles like old Atlanta or new Atlanta. Pre-patch is pretty much old Atlanta. It became a fuel race, and I'm interested to see how the draft update's gonna affect that.
Well, we did run Atlanta in the preseason last year, right? It was the
It
yeah,
was
but
the
that was
Clash.
like the side draft.
Yeah, it was the
It was the
Clash.
Clash, and
It
it
was
was
the
the
tragedy, but
before the
yes.
draft patch.
Yeah, that was before they fixed the drafting. That's right. And then we did not run it in the regular season. What about you, Shucks?
Well, we kind of need to make a decision on if we're gonna run Graboid for Atlanta.
Ooh,
That's something
I
we
hadn't
haven't
even
really
thought about
talked about. Now I've got 64 million clips to go over tomorrow, so I'm just gonna call out of work tomorrow and get that figured out. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So I think that's very dependent on it. I wish with the patch, I loved the idea of the side draft we had at the beginning of the game because I think it's something that's in NASCAR heavily right now. But then we also like completely removed it. So I kind of wish we like meshed in the middle when that patch happened and didn't go so far the other way to where there's literally none existing. But I don't know. I think both races have the opportunity to kind of get both divisions rolling back in the right direction. Um, I think, kind of looking at the schedule, I think we're both going into some pretty difficult races. The trucks are going to Martinsville after Echo Park, so buckle the heck up for that week, because that should be entertaining in the slightest. And we're going to Gateway. That's bound to have some fireworks with it. But I think it's a chance for both. Talladega went well for us, and I think it did for the trucks as well. So I think it's a good way for us to rebound, get back
well
on,
for me.
go in the right direction. and see how that goes from there.
Shockz. I mean, Crow. What about you? What are you looking forward to at Atlanta next week or Echo Park?
I think it'll. I'm excited for it. I'm I'm hoping we will see some double wide action, two wide action. Um, but yeah, it remains to be seen. I guess we'll see here once we get practice going for next week. But yeah, I think it should be a fun one.
Alex, what about you? Is Atlanta or Echo Park a track you look forward to?
Yeah, I think it's fun because I think these plate tracks give anybody an opportunity to win. Um, someone like myself that does sit in the midfield more often than not. I think it's just an opportunity where I may not otherwise have one run up front as often. But yeah, just hoping for some green flag racing this week.
Yeah, like I said, Atlanta is Super Speedway. It's like one of those tracks where you could see a surprise winner. I believe I alluded last week into the guy who I think is gonna pick up his first win. But yeah, we'll get to that here in a second with the picks. But yes, I am looking forward to Atlanta. I believe I scored about 13 or 14, maybe 15 points tonight. So I just want to get back on the track. Tonight was one of my worst races in probably 2 seasons, and I am gonna have that sour taste in my mouth all week. So yes, I am looking forward to Atlanta. I did have a request to change my background to the 60 car of Ryan Preece because he was the race winner tonight.
99 truck.
Everybody was tired of looking at my 77, and I decided, I'm a crowd pleaser. So we have Tata's 60 Little Bites Capri Sun RFK Racing Ford on the screen now. You're welcome. But yeah, let's move on and go over the picks real quick for Atlanta. Um, what did you send me, Shockz here?
Mailbag question.
Oh, nothing important for next week.
Okay, we're gonna do that next week. Yeah, we're running long.
Yep.
Appreciate the question though. Appreciate the question. So for my picks, I guess I'll just go first here. I have on the cup side, or actually, how did I do tonight? Tonight I had Stein, I believe, on the cup side, and he came up short there on fuel
Yeah,
mileage
that
or
didn't work
tires
out
or
for me
something.
either.
Yeah, he might have got some stage points, I believe, but I think he fell back there at the end outside the top 10. And then on the truck side, I believe I had Brad K. Or no, who did I have? Let me see here. Looking at it.
You had Chase.
I had Chase. How did Chase do tonight, Tunda?
Not
He
good.
finished 27th.
Wow. I am just digging a hole. I am just digging a hole here in the
Nilla,
fantasy
holy
elimination points.
smokes, dude.
I was in
Bro
last.
is
I was in last going
lacking
into
HRL ball
tonight.
knowledge.
I was in last going into tonight, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna remain there. But
Well, he was running second at one point. The Scuderia Tunda Fords were 1-2
well, how many points do I
at
get for
one
him
point
running
in
second
stage
at one
two,
point?
but you get his stage points, which I
Okay.
can't remember, but
Oh
he
man.
got caught up in some nonsense there in stage two and ended up in the back a lap down.
All right, so another rough week for me. Let's try to get back on the right track here. I'm going with at Echo Park. I'm going with Tyreek on the Cup side. That's what I kind of mentioned before. I think he gets his first HRL career win at Echo Park next week. He ran well tonight when I was up there, not making bonehead mistakes, and I was running in the top 10. I did see him competing up in that area, top 5-ish. And then on the truck side, I'm going to take Jack Bauer. I know he had a 12th place finish tonight, I think you said, but he is coming off a strong start. He was leading the points coming into tonight, and I think he's usually pretty good at drafting tracks. So I will take Jack on the truck side. What about you, Crow? What do you got?
All right, for my
Or how'd your
Atlanta
picks go
pick,
this
or
week?
Echo Park,
How did your picks go this week?
I had you, and you
Oh
finished
God.
20th,
Oh God.
and I had Seabake,
I also had no
Yeah,
stage points, by the
P6.
way. I also had no stage
and
points.
I had Seabake who finished 6th.
Okay, so I let you
Uh,
down. Seabake did all right for you. Okay.
and then for my picks, I'll have Pumps for the Cup Series, and Tall Mike for trucks.
Okay, so all right, that sounds good. Tunda.
I had Typhon and Cup. How'd he do?
I
Yikes.
think he
He
finished
he
I
next
found-
messaged
one.
me and apologized, so it must not have been that
I
good.
did see him running
Tunda-
better than he normally does, though. He was running in that
Yeah.
top
I
10
know I
area.
freight trained him one time because he was running
Typhon
the
finished.
high line when I was yeah. I don't
Typhon
think
finished. Typhon finished 13th, and Dirty Fox
Okay.
finished 7th for you, Tunda.
Okay.
not
Yep.
bad.
Chucks? Or no, go
And,
ahead, Tunda, your picks for next week.
And next week going into Echo Park, I'm trying not to burn up too many big hitters, but it's making me fall behind. But I'm gonna keep on that streak there. I'm gonna pick Twinkie on the Cup side, and then trucks. I think I'm gonna pick our boy Uncle Alex.
Well, I've used all heavy
Appreciate
hitters
that.
so far, and I'm last. So just you're doing good. Trust me. So
I used Tate ahead out of the gate, but
I just stayed at the wrong track
The rest of
apparently.
the
I mean,
Yeah,
I've
Hate to
used
see it.
Tata, I've used Stein, I've used Mustang, I've used Jack, I've used Brad K. Like I've used all heavy hitters. Like,
Not
but
good. It's
what do
not
you got,
good.
Shucks?
Well, I also had Stein, and Stein was involved in incident too. Tried to fuel save it, didn't work out. I think he finished like 14th. So not
when I
ideal,
tuned
but
in, he was leading by like 15 seconds.
yeah, it's one of his best tracks, and he was running well. Then got caught up in some tomfoolery, I think, and then Mudflap got me a P2. So
So,
he didn't get me a win. So I guess I'll just take it for the most part. You know, he'll have to owe me an apology, I'm sure.
Mudflap finished
But,
second. It sounds like he might be the points leader. I think going in. But,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shucks.
For Cup, I am gonna go with NLS. And then trucks. You want to know? You know, I bet y'all didn't know this, but what rhymes with success at Echo Park is Jawadius Tunda. Bet you didn't know that.
Hey.
Okay.
So
I
he's
know
going
that
my pick
guy.
for trucks. Yeah.
And make sure you type those to me so I can don't have to go back to the stream to get your picks. And then I think that leaves Alex. You got a cup and a truck guy on both sides?
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
I guess going back to the guest picks last week, DJ gave us Stein, who I think you said was 14th. And he gave us Dirk on the trucks, which had an engine failure, so rough.
So rough week for the guests.
Yikes.
Okay.
Jeez.
Rough week for the guest team. On the cup side, I'm gonna go with NLS Network.
Okay.
And-
I don't think he's been picked. You're good there.
And truck side, I don't believe Dirty Fox has been picked yet by the guests.
No, I
Back at it.
think somebody picked Dirty Fox, but it wasn't the guest.
Okay.
So,
I had him this week.
yeah, you had him this week, but he has not been picked by the guest, so you are good there.
Cool.
So you're going to NLS and Dirty Fox.
Yeah, correct.
All right, let me just type that in there. So while I'm typing that in, that kind of concludes everything, but I figured one thing we could do because we didn't do it in the recap segment. If Shockz and Tunda, if you guys kind of want to just do a roll, like a shout out to the top 10 from tonight to like wrap us up, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I'll pull up the
I
Pull
sure
up the
would if I had
trucks.
it on standby. Give me a second.
I think Crow might
10th
have it.
place
I think
was
Did Crow have it?
you got it. 10th
Oh, I
place
definitely
was
don't have
Brad
it.
in the truck race. Brad K in the 1. 9th was Ryan Hurricane in the 71. 8th was the 56 of Twinkle Toes. 7th we know was Dirty Fox. And 6th, I think someone else had Seabake. 5th, the 21 of Up Top. 4th, Old Guy in the 17. 3rd place, Mustang in the 19. 2nd place, the 7 of Budflap. And our winner tonight was the 99 of Hita Hita for Scuderia Tunda.
Okay, and then I actually remembered
Cool.
that I did scroll on my stream.
Yeah, I
so...
just found it.
Okay, you got it. All right.
Yep. 10th. Brad got himself a top 10 this week, followed up by Crow in 9th.
Top 10 for
Pops
Crow.
in 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, top 10 for Crow. Pump's the new Scuderia affiliate. Nabs himself in 8th. Cone finishes 7th. DJ in 6th for Nightmare. LXTX in 5th for Scuderia as
Good
well.
bounce back for
And then
both of those guys, LTX and DJ.
And then you had Tyreek in 4th, me in 3rd, so 2 good finishes for Extreme Speed, and then an even better out for Trophy Hunter, who had Blue Star in 2nd and Tate ahead in 1st.
Okay. Um, and then I think starting next week we'll probably do we'll do a little, now that we have 3 races under our belt and it's getting to a little bit more of a sample size. I'll start to run down we'll run down like the point standings and the team standings as well. I was just kind of waiting until we get a few races under our belt so things kind of settle out. Um, but great show, guys. I think we covered a lot. We got a lot of questions in, had a lot of good topics, a lot of good conversations. I know we ran kind of long tonight, but I appreciate you guys all coming and Alex for sticking around with us. It was a pleasure to have you. Anything else you guys want to add?
Thanks for having me this week.
I'm happy to have Alex, and let's hope the racing next week is as good as the show is.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully I finished as good as I did at Talladega, if not better.
Well, I can't do worse than
You
I did
better.
this week, so I cannot do worse. But yeah, anything, Crow? You good?
Nope, we're all good.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I know it's late. This has been episode 5, post over, and we'll see you guys after Echo Park next week. Y'all have a good night.